Welcome back. This is the Daily Brief, and our question of the day, we're simply asking you whether governors should be granted immunity from prosecution. You can text us on the text line 21222, the hashtag here being the Daily Brief. Now, Joe, during the last session, you said our systems are not running because those in place, or rather those people who've been given those opportunities, don't have the goodwill to fight corruption. You actually, if I didn't get you wrong, went ahead and said that there's barely anyone with that kind of goodwill.
I'm not saying that there's barely that kind of a person.
Yeah.
We may have those kind of people to manage our resources. The problem we are having, and I will keep on repeating, till the day I will go to the grave. One, it is true and extremely expensive for such a young country like Kenya to have 47 counties. I will stick to that. I have no apology to make because I know we cannot afford it. The reason why today the essential commodities, the prices and the VAT and everything is at the rooftop is because we need to fund these counties. The reason why we are borrowing left, right, center, and I don't know whichever other direction you want to call it, it's because we need to fund these counties because they are mandated. It is a constitutional crisis we have in this country. Whether we like it or not, we created it, and it is a high time for us to refund it ourselves. We don't want to bear with it. I want to tell Kenyans, do not complain when you hear sugar is going for 200 shillings. Do not complain when you hear unga is going for 200 shillings. Do not complain when the fuel goes up, because it is that money which will go to fund the counties. This is simply what I'm telling Kenyans. But because you want them, you want to see your governor running around with 10, 20 cars, with 500 bodyguards around him, with I don't know what, and then building mansions tomorrow, then don't complain, Kenyans. But if you are feeling that pinch, if you are feeling it like Mutabu, because I am feeling it, then we need to re-audit this thing. It is not the question of even the corruption to one individual to counties. Because everybody where they are, they just want to make money which they have not sweated for. We have a governor who goes to the office, and today you have seen, they are saying, whatever money you are giving us, don't ask us. And those counties, they cannot generate. Ideally, the drafters of the Constitution, they thought that the counties would generate money by themselves. Today, do they? And whatever revenue they collect on the counties, do they return it to Exchequer? It is even minimum. Municipalities used to do better. I disagree with anyone who is telling me we are taking services closer to the people. Which services were not there?
But Joe, even before we address the ongoing wage bill, the question in the minds of Kenyans is the money that is already being devolved working for them?
The one which is going through the counties?
Yes.
I can bet you, I can bet whatever, I can bet my head. It is not. Trust you me, it is not, because maybe 50 or 70% of that is going to wage bill. If you spend money to pay people, what development do you expect? I want each governor to tell Kenyans, this is my development plan. I am getting 10 billion a year. I'm spending 7 billion in development. I want to see that.
Before you hear from Gakuya and Steve, we have a member of parliament for Bonchari constituency that is in Kisii County. You do remember that, like I'd mentioned too, Kisii High School became the latest school to be affected by the ongoing schools unrest. Let's now speak to area member of parliament, Mr. Oro Oyeko. Thank you very much for joining us by way of phone. Unfortunately, I understand we've just lost him. We shall have him briefly, rather shortly, just so that we can understand what exactly transpired with the ongoing cases of schools unrest, the latest being the Kisii High School, where dormitories were touched last evening. Let's continue with our discussion now. The question as to whether the money being sent to the counties is working for us as a country, especially at the county level or not, even before we address Joe's concern of a bloated wage bill and an expensive affair here.
Steve. Well, I'd say, like I said before, I think the money that is being given to the counties, for me, I don't think it's working 100%. A lot of it is going into just few individuals at the county level. And I also needed to say, by the way, that the kind of corruption that we're having at the county level, and I think even at the national level, is a systemic, kind of thing. It's not just a one-person thing. There are cartels who are trying to create systems that creates an enabling environment for corruption to thrive, you know. And I think, like I said before, there is need for us to have these county governments audited and these audit reports made public, and those counties that are found to have misused resources. Okay. We need to see what we saw in Busia, you know. That was a very good example, that indeed nobody is above the law, and we needed to see another governor the next day, another governor the next day, you know, being taken to court, so that Kenyans feel like, you know, their concerns are being, there's somebody who's really paying attention to their cries out there. Yeah.
Gakuya.
Yeah, let me say that. In fact, one thing is that, in fact, the idea was a good idea to create the 47 number of counties. But these 47 number were politically made. They were never genuinely made. This was just an issue that, in fact, people felt that, in fact, the national government is wavering some areas, and other areas are not. The national envelope is not reaching there. I can attest to you that, in fact, during the local government, systems, in fact, things were working here. I was a councillor in Modurwa, and let me tell you, in Nairobi, every other ward had 5 million per every financial year, and that money was a project money, and that money was reaching down to the people very well, and let me tell you, there was no issues. Today, they are trying to create what we call a ward fund. It is not coming up. You find that, in fact, I had 5 good wards, and there is nothing that I can tell you is only one councillor who does something. The rest of the wards, unless the constituents rely on CDF money, nothing else comes down there. So there's a big problem. And this problem is that, Ian, we never looked one issue, that in fact we seconded number of staff from the national government to these counties. And then these governors want just also to make their own employment. So can I tell you that, in fact, once you have seconded team, and then you need also to mobilize your employees, at the end of the day, we will come servicing what we call recurrent expenditure in these counties, and nothing will be left for service. Okay. Therefore, I am telling you, it was a good idea, but I can concur with my good friend here. We need to think about it in terms of number of counties that this country can be able to support. And to sustain.
Sustain. Thank you. I'll come back to you. Let's now cross over to Nyakach, where Baraka Karama is joining us live at one of the schools that also has been closed down indefinitely due to the unrest in that particular area. He is in Nyakach. Baraka Karama, what's the latest on this? And perhaps you can also, tell us the resolution that came up from the Cabinet Secretary and her team who met yesterday in that area.
Ian, like you've mentioned, I'm here at Diboro Secondary School within Nyakach constituency in the expansive county of Kisumu. And just to correct you, the school hasn't been closed yet. But right now, where I am, I'm inside one of the dormitories that caught fire last evening, barely 24 hours before. Barely 24 hours after the Education CS Ambassador Amina Mohammed held a meeting in Kisumu with different principals and head teachers within this expansive county of Kisumu, just to try and address the issue that has now been going on around various parts of Kisumu County and the neighboring county of Homa Bay and Migori. And remember, right now where I am is that yesterday evening this dormitory caught fire, and the reason as to why it caught fire has not yet been established. And just to hear from the horse's mouth, allow me to take comment from the institution's principal, Mr. Oyuga. Come on, just give us a brief. We are here at the dormitory. What exactly happened?
No, at around 7:40 last night, I got a call from my boarding master informing me that one of the dorms was on fire. So I came in. The students and the teachers managed to put off the fire. And then thereafter, we called an assembly of the students and We addressed the students together with the security team and the education office. And students were generally calm. They had no prior complaint. We talked to them. Then they went to sleep. By 10:30, the students were asleep. Yes.
What is the cause of the fire according to your investigation?
I cannot speculate, but what I know is that from my initial investigations, I highly doubt whether the students were involved. It's very likely that this fire was started maybe somebody from outside who could have jumped in and started fire, but we are investigating.
Like this dormitory has a capacity of accommodating how many students, and what is going to happen? Because right now I can see all the belongings have been raised down.
A few students tried to come in and salvage their property. We have a capacity of about 70 students in this dome. Some managed to rescue their properties. As you can see, some have thrown outside. Others got burnt. And we, as the management of the school, we are going to have a meeting of the board right from here for the charter way forward.
Like we've seen various schools within Kisumu County being closed down because of the student unrest. Could you link this issue to the unrest that has been going on within various institutions within Kisumu County?
Every institution has its own unique problems. Some of them could have been expressed by the students, but for us, we have not had any complaint. Even as at yesterday, when we were talking to the students at night, no complaint, they have no problem. They are calm. They're also equally surprised that this thing happened. Yes.
Well, Ian, that was the institution principal for Thurdiburo Secondary School, Mr. Oyuga, just giving us a brief about the incident that happened last night here at this particular institution. Remember, yesterday during the meeting by the CS Ambassador Amina Mohammed in Kisumu County, she said that the ongoing unrest in schools will be dealt with as a criminal activity, and so far 3 students have been arrested and arraigned in court in regards to the past incident that happened in various schools in Chulaimbo within Kisumu County. So of course, Ian, we are still keeping an eye, and just to mention is that Thurdiburo students are still in class, and the management say they're trying to address the issue to see what can be done. Ian.
Okay, thank you very much for that report. And of course, this continues to be of national concern. In fact, gentlemen, let me hear from you. Ministry of Education over time has been puzzled by, this vicious cycle. When it starts, it crosses like fire, quite literally, in terms of, the schools and rest. Just last night, also, Kisii High School was also affected with most of the dormitories actually burnt down. Joe, let me hear from you.
I think we have a bigger problem than we are seeing. I do not understand why this unrest cannot be tamed. I remember some times back, either 2 or 3 years back, there was a commission which was formed, headed by one able lady, a person I know very well, Cleo Molo. And up to now, we do not know what happened after that, and if there were any recommendations, whether they were implemented or not implemented. I think we need to have the game on the school unrest. We do not need to just leave it with the teachers and they say, okay, shauri yao, if the school is banned, they are the one losing. There's more than meet the eye. And the reason why the students go to the rampage and to the next end of banning and dome, where actually it is them who benefit with those facilities, we need to look into that issue keenly, without feelings, without politics, without saying this is my son, that was my son. We need to understand what is exactly happening. And I can tell you, the life we are living, what we are seeing is a replica of our society.
What do you think about the Riot
Act? It's a replica of our society.
The Riot Act that was read out by the Cabinet Secretary in terms of the measures that will be taken for those found culpable.
Let me tell you, Ian, you can say so many, you can give so many threats. Thugs are being killed every day, but they keep on stealing. Does that stop them? We need to find a way of why is it happening and how can we stop it. Not to tell somebody, I will jail you, I will not give you a good conduct certificate. Most of them, they don't care. Whether you give me a good certificate or not, I will go to be a makanka or something else. We need to find a cure for this. Okay. Finding a cure for this, you need credible solutions, not just to pronounce things. I have a lot of respect for I have a lot of respect for my good friend DCI, who said, yes, well, if you do this, this will follow you back. Okay. But I tell you, we need to look into this issue keenly.
Let me hear from you, Gakuya, because part of the measures taken by the Education Ministry as well as the DCI is that if you're found culpable, your crimes will actually be written in your school certificate, therefore barring you from even joining colleges or university after.
But Ian, the only thing here is, how would they be able to identify those critics who normally take the first instance of touching those particular dormitories or schools? Suppose that, in fact, nobody saw anybody touching either of these facilities. And then you want to suspect a certain number of students amongst the rest, and you just want to take them culpable for this. I think that, in fact, Ian, once we take those drastic measures, it is also important to make sure, in fact, that we have put our schools in the discipline it deserves. Because, Ian, you are a parent, and you understand your family very well. You know whom amongst your family is criminal. That one you must know as a parent. Okay. Equally in a school, the management of the school, and especially the principal and his team, must know who are the kind of the crazy students within, who can be at least in the first place when there is anything suspicious, they can take a label. But because I'm sure, Ian, in this particular scenario we are undergoing, in fact, maybe there are only 5 students amongst the whole school who are taking this kind of action, and they are taking the rest of the number of students to suffer for nothing. So I think as he has just explained it, it's better to look for better mechanisms. Okay. And then once you realize that there are cliques of students that cannot live with the rest of the students in the school, must be evicted far much before such action comes.
Steve, part of the measures also suggested by the Cabinet Secretary here is to increase the number of teachers on duty, at least by double, mostly 2 in most cases. What do you think?
I don't think there's a solution. I think what we're seeing now is, like one of the panelists said, is a reflection of the rot in our society. Yeah. And I think that what we need to see is not reading them the Riot Act and things like that. Sometimes we forget that these students are actually a stakeholder in all this discussion, and there's need for us to, or the ministry, to have an engaging forum, like a dialogue. Get to understand what are the root causes of these incidents that are happening in school. Now it's become a norm, like every day at least you can predict that at least there's going to be a school burning tonight, and that is not a good way to go. It's a national problem, and I think it needs to be given very serious attention. Let investigations be done, and like I said, students should be involved. Let the ministry dialogue with the students, because they are an important stakeholders in this matter. Okay,
thank you for that.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out this. Before we even lay the blame to the ministry, I think also parenting is also very important to this. I've just heard from my colleague that you are a parent, and congratulations, I didn't know that. But so to speak about parents, it depends on how we treat our children. It is about the reflection of our society. Yeah. And I want to repeat it again, Ian, that the way we behave, even as leaders, we transfer that to our kids or to the people we lead, and they take it to the school. So if Mheshimiwa here will go to the street and start throwing stones, his son will do the same in the school. Okay, so it is a reflection of what we are doing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely we shall keep following this particular story. But now I'd like us to cross over to yet another important event happening right now, is that the Senate Select Committee, led there by Mutula Kilonzo Jr., investigating the incident that happened at the Solai Dam, is currently interrogating the Chief Administrative Secretary in the Interior Ministry, that is CAS Patrick Ole. Tutu. Let's listen in to some of the questions that he's taking from members of that committee.
So, please, as the CS, communicate to the CS our concerns,
Sure.
our disappointment. Let him take action. He doesn't need to report.
We will.
He has taken action. We should see it visibly.
I think the CS said that the CS is really in trouble.
Yes, we can.
Because he takes the highest political responsibility.
Sure.
We wanted to have money for it.
Okay.
And to come after having suspended this person. Then we will see there is will. I don't think there's you don't know about it.
No, we don't. We don't. Sakaja, Senator Sakaja of Nairobi, I can tell you that our CS is always ready to come to Parliament anytime. I apologize because he was held up on other issues of security. But I can tell you on this one issue that you have talked about passionately, we will look at it and we'll report it on Monday. Yes.
I think here also one thing which is important is that Sakaja asked you a very simple question.
Yes.
At the beginning of this conversation.
Correct.
Is what is it that you in the ministry are doing specifically because of this question? I think what you need to do is to take on this matter and not rely on the multi-agency task force. Because what we are seeing is that there is either a plot to be able to deny you information. Because if you're saying you're not aware of things which are in the public domain, it makes us wonder what kind of information you receive. So I think this is something that you ought to take it personally with your CS and ensure that these people of Solai are actually afforded justice.
And we know you too.
Absolutely. That one. That one.
We understand when you say we are the people.
Senator Ledama, I'm surprised that you said also the county, MPs who are also part of this team are also compromised on this issue because they're supposed to be, what you said. You said
was very clear.
Yes.
He said that he's surprised.
Yes.
That if all the MPs
Yes.
from that area
Yes.
are from Jubilee,
Yes.
who they went to that
Correct.
coalition because they believe that government is
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So now they are actually also wondering what is happening.
Fair enough. Let's get back to this issue.
What I propose,
Yes.
if you can confirm that, because you have told, see, there's a question of environment
Yes.
that really concerns us.
Yes.
Because the environment has been washed away.
Correct.
We are seeing no action being taken on the question of environment. So we have invited CS to come on Tuesday. Tuesday, 9 a.m. So can we ask that you confirm that CS Matiang'i will also be available on Tuesday?
On Tuesday. The same time or a different time?
Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
Both of them. Yeah.
Yes.
Because the questions are the same.
Yes. Yes. Normally, I think it's important
Tuesday.
that
I said
Tuesday. Tuesday, okay. So
Tuesday.
9.
Monday or Tuesday.
Well, it's up to the committee. For us, we are ready anytime.
Yeah.
Because this.
No, the committee has decided we want CS Matiang'i on Tuesday to address some.
Tuesday. So not Monday. Okay.
9.
Yes. 9 a.m.
We wrote to him a letter.
Yes, we saw that letter.
That letter has not been answered. Because we want to have the answer to those issues, even if it means attaching these documents formally.
Okay. Fair enough.
All these documents are immediately after the incident. So we would like to see the actions taken.
Okay.
Tuesday 9.
Tuesday 9 a.m.
Tuesday 9 a.m.
Yes.
The cabinet secretary will come with his report.
Yes.
Maybe NDMA officers, the NDMA officers. Because there are questions that we have not even asked on the questions of early warning signs. We have reports from meteorological department that indicate everybody was aware that there were going to be floods, and that's why they warned the people in Masinga. So somebody ignored the information given that there will be floods or in Solai. So we would like you to confirm that you'll be here on Tuesday 9
9 a.m. Yes.
with those reports.
Yes.
But we would like to see.
No problem.
Heads, March, yes.
Yes.
The one. But because of this issue I'm saying, and
Thank you.
Go try to come up with but I will not. I think we cannot define with the serious matter because the way we deal with this was in it.
Yes.
And you know the challenges I have.
I do. I do.
You combine your promised investigations, nothing. Oruma building collapse, I've been promised investigations. This one sets a precedent. And I think we must take it as seriously as, because when
sections of members of that particular Senate select committee of the Senate are simply questioning the CAS as to why the Cabinet Secretary of Interior, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, did not show up. We shall give you the exact feedback given to them. But in the meantime, let's cross over to another event happening right now, where the Cabinet Secretary for Mining and Petroleum, Honorable John Munyes, is currently presiding over the operation of the new Mombasa-Nairobi pipeline. That is Line 5 at the Kenya Pipeline headquarters in Nairobi. Let's listen in.
Thank you very much. And thank you all again. I just wanted to add some few words before I close. As a former politician, I hope I'm still a politician. You cannot just end your speech without saying, bado nitasema moja, nitaongeza ingine moja. What we have done for this country is a good job. And again, I want to thank you. Everybody who participated in ensuring this project succeeded. It will not be complete without us decongesting the jetty in Mombasa. I think that's the next thing we need to do. That is a small project, but it's very important. We must do that project quickly to decongest the port of Mombasa. I want to thank Kenya Pipeline. I want to thank the good people in Kenya Pipeline. This could not have happened without the good spirit I see amongst the workers in this company. I want to thank those ones. But I want to challenge also those who are dragging us behind. Kuna wazuri na kuna wabaya. Wazuri wasaidiwe wapande juu, na wale wengine wale wanaenda chini wafanywe nini? Wanatuharibia kazi. I want to echo the statements of His Excellency the President on corruption. Infrastructural projects. We are wasting in this country enormous amounts of money that should improve our infrastructure. This project was riddled by many challenges. But it's the best project. I think it's the second best in Africa. Zakem and team have delivered us a project. But I want to challenge this organization, the Kenya Pipeline, that there are lessons you can learn from this project. The way you dealt with the contractor, the way you dealt with the consultant. Chairman, there's a lot to learn. And give me these lessons because we want those lessons to help us improve, because we want to do more pipelines in this country. I want to thank you for the LPG project that is coming, which I really want to monitor myself. The Mwananchi gas project, National Oil is here. Chairman, I want to thank you. You must work closely with the Kenya Pipeline to deliver this project for the country. I know there's a consultancy going on. We need to support investors so that we increase the capacity of LPG in the country. But at the same time, we need to streamline and we need to regulate. And it can only be regulated by Kenya Pipeline Company. The same way Our friends at the National Oil Company are helping us with the petroleum products. This is a big project for us. We must deliver it for Kenyans. The transformation work we're doing in changing the Kenya refineries, which was a dead organization. The fact that it has now made a profit of 400 million is something to be proud about. I want to challenge your board with the workers there that let's go towards improving that. Let's transform the Kenya Refineries Limited and make it profitable for Kenya. A lot can be done. We've learned so much from what has happened with this project. I have a dream that I want Kenya Pipeline to be part of. We want to be part of the dream of the LAPSET project. I want a visibility study. If your board wishes, that we undertake a study on a new pipeline from Lamu to Isiolo. That pipeline will open up the northern region, central province, up to southern Ethiopia. That is a big project for us. And with the kind of team I have now.
The Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Mining acknowledging that indeed corruption has actually stalled quite a number of what he terms as great projects within the Kenya Pipeline company. As this, he is speaking at the headquarters right now as he presides over the operation of the new Nairobi Mombasa pipeline, which is described as Line 5 at the Kenya Pipeline Company. We shall react to that and other stories as they continue to make headlines right here on the Daily Brief. But first, a short commercial break.